This summer, during the biggest sporting event of the year, Peacock turns to two broadcasting legends for the Olympics coverage you can't find anywhere else.
I think they mean us.
With an incredible duo sure to take home the comedy gold. Olympic Highlights with Kevin Hart and Kenan Thompson. New episodes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Only on Peacock.
This is The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Now, here's Frank Morano.
Good morning. This is my theme song, Dominic Carter, here with you folks. And for Frank Morano, you are listening to The Other Side of Midnight. The number to reach me is 646-720-0635. We are changing topics now, switching gears. You can also reach me on social media, on Twitter, on X, what do you call it? Twitter, X, whatever the case may be. At Dominic TV. At Dominic TV. That's where you can reach me, but understand that I may actually use your comments live on the air here for the next hour. I want you folks to help me with something. If you're in the queue already, as it relates to one of the calls standing by, and I just happen to look up at the monitor, and there's a picture of Laken Riley. Let's not forget that young lady, what happened to her at the hands of, allegedly, of that migrant, the student in Georgia. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. And so if you're already in the queue, we'll get to your call in just 1 second. But I really need your help this morning. I have been trying to figure this out for the longest. Let's say you're a correction officer, and I'm going to get to Trump and the debate over debates in just a moment. But let's say you're a correction officer, and let's say you work in Chicago. And let's say with overtime, you make $100,000 a year, and let's just say it's a good income for your family. And you get the great benefits, and yes, you're risking your life, and you're locked up all day with inmates, but you're doing what you have to do to provide for your family. For the life of me, and this is a story that goes back 20, 25 years that I've never been able to understand. And I want your help to help me comprehend. I'm just going to be direct and put it out there. Why do some female correction officers have relationships with inmates? Let me be more direct. Why do female correction officers, obviously I'm only referring to a handful, but why do they risk everything to have sex with inmates? If you have an answer for that, please give me a call, because for the life of me, I have never, ever been able to figure that one out. 646-720-0635. So with that in mind, a female prison guard is admitting to having sex with an inmate in a recorded cell phone episode, and she's facing long years in terms of jail. And now this happens a lot in America, but the British female prison officer, she was arrested after allegedly being filmed having sex with an inmate inside his prison cell. And she pleaded guilty to misconduct Monday. She's 30 years old. Her name, Linda De Sousa Abri, and she was working at London's Wadsworth prison when she was caught having sex with a prisoner on June 27th, which was recorded by another inmate and went viral on social media, the BBC reported. Prosecutors say she runs an OnlyFans account, knowingly took part in the raunchy video with an inmate, and what's going to happen to her is unclear at this point. And so the video, again, was shared by inmates at the Wandsworth jail before spreading across social media. And the prosecutor says she was clearly an enthusiastic participant who wrongly thought she would avoid responsibility, adding this was a shocking breach of the public's trust. So the woman appeared at her hearing, dressed professionally, and pleaded guilty to one count of misconduct in public office, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. So obviously she won't get life in prison, but she's pleaded guilty. Why? I know, by the way, she's a married mother, and it looks like it's her husband that came to court with her. And so she was granted conditional bail, and she's scheduled to appear back in court November 7th. And her lawyers did not immediately issue a statement. And so the married mom was arrested earlier this month following a police investigation that identified her as the guard having sex in the men's prison when I just mentioned when it happened. So I really want someone to explain this phenomenon to me, because it's happened in some big American cities. And it may seem like I'm, unfairly targeting female officers, but that's what comes to mind right now. Why in the world? We're going to get to Trump and the debates and the debate over the debate, but why would an officer, in particular a female officer, correction officer, risk everything to have sex with an inmate and then permit another inmate to record it, knowing that you're going to be the talk of the town before you can finish your shift? Let's go to Mark. Mark is in Aurora, Illinois. Mark, what's on your mind?
Well, I used to be in a prison ministry called Kairos. It's a Christian ministry, and we saw things from both sides. One side said, just love, 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 listen, listen, listen. The warden said to us, the way you can tell that a prisoner is lying is that his lips are moving.
Right.
So we, but I have a couple of guesses. One is on the inmate side, and the other is on the guard's side.
Well,
on
obviously, for the inmate side, they want benefits, they want privileges.
Well,
they're women, they're locked up with a bunch of men. I mean, that's easy. I'm trying to figure it out from the.
But I was going to say that a lot of them were pretty good con artists before they wound up in prison, and they may use their manipulative tactics.
But Mark, if they were good con artists, they wouldn't be in jail. But yes, I would call it a different thing. They have the gift of gab, and they're able to run game on some of these female officers. But why would they give in to that? That's so on the officer side, Mark, before I go to Wanda in the Bronx, New York. Go ahead. On the officer side, why would an officer put her job and family and children on the line to have sex? Here in New York, we had that big case upstate where the guys broke out and one was having sex with her and she went to jail. But go ahead, Mark.
It depends on where her buttons can be pushed, and it depends on how bored and despairing she is with the prison system. Every woman is different, but some women have buttons that prisoners know how to push.
You are correct.
Some women, frankly, like bad boys. Now I've never understood women who like bad boys, but there are women who do.
No, you're 1,000% correct. The only thing that I find interesting is that they love bad boys and think that they're going to change the bad boy, and then when the bad boy behavior comes to them, they don't understand why it's happening.
Yeah, if I have sex with this guy, he'll soften up.
Right, and he's a bad boy. He's never going to soften up. He's used to having plenty of women. Mark, you made some good points there. Okay, you made me understand a little bit. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Wanda, line 3, and we are taking your calls. We're about to get to Trump and the debate over the debate. We're taking your telephone calls, and folks, you can give us a call at 646-720-0635. Good morning, Wanda. What's on your mind?
Yes, Dominic. I had a cousin out in California. She was a correction officer at a facility, and she married a guy in the prison, and she lost her job. And then she came home to Maryland to introduce us to him. And the first thing he went around asking, where can he buy some drugs? And we say, what did she marry that boy for? And then he had a little girl. He left a little girl with her, and he left her. He eventually left her.
Of
and
course.
We didn't understand.
Because once he got out of jail, he didn't have any need for her anymore. So Wanda, help me. You're a woman.
I've heard this. Say, where are all the black men? They say they in jail. So no black men out here for women to date. And maybe she couldn't find one out here.
Okay, but explain this to me. That this is the part that I'm trying to understand, and we can take race out of it, right? Because it happens to black female correction officers, white female correction officers. The race is not important. But explain this part to me. Why? I think for the most part, and perhaps this is a stereotype, but women are more responsible than men, right? Why would a woman risk her job, her career, taking care of her kids, her health care for her children, just to have sex with some loser inmate that's running game to her?
You had a good job, making good money.
So why do you think they do it? That's what I'm trying to understand.
I wish I knew, because we didn't understand it either. We didn't understand why she would do that. I swear to God, we didn't understand. Never did. All I got to say, they're weak and they're desperate.
Right. Well, Wanda, thank you. Thank you for enlightening me a little bit. Let's go to Jimmy in Minnesota. Jimmy, how are you listening to us right now?
Oh, on the radio, just before I'm ready to hit the sack.
Okay, fair enough. So, do you have an answer for me on this? Hey, Jimmy, and the only reason why I'm doing this topic is this has been something that's been on my mind going back almost 30 years. I just don't get it, why a woman would risk everything to have sex with a con.
Well, we had lots of training on this, and the previous caller was talking about they're good con artists. They do have all day long to think of the perfect thing to say to that lady. And maybe that woman is not having a great relationship with her husband at home, or if any husband or spouse or partner. And the inmate, the first time he sees her, hey, I really like the way you wear your hair. And then if she does something just a little different, maybe 2 days later, he'll say, oh, that's really nice the way you look this today. So they have all day long to think of that perfect thing to say. And that's how they build their relationship. And that's how it starts. And then it's a little bit, and a little bit more. And then, hey, could you think, I don't know how they got this video on there. If that
she made the video letting another inmate record her.
I mean, we never had cell phones in our institution that we could carry in the cell house. There was people in the facility that had cell phones, but couldn't have them anywhere near an inmate. So that just baffles me there. But also, some women come to work in those places. They're looking for a guy from day one.
Wow!
And because they know that guy ain't going to be cheating on them.
Right? You can control him.
She knows where he is. He ain't out screwing around with some other lady that night.
So Jimmy, you were a correction officer?
Yes, sir. 25 years.
Wow. And so did you witness things like this? Did you hear rumors like this?
Yes. We had a number of staff that over the years that they fell into the trap.
But I'm just amazed, Jimmy. There is nothing that I'm just going to be honest. There is nothing a loser inmate could say to me that's going to say to me, "Oh, I should take off my clothes and have sex with you."
Yeah, it's a progressive sales pitch. And it baffles the rest of us that work with these people.
Hey Jimmy, I've got to take a break, so I got to end this in a second. Yep. But so you're saying that they catch these female officers while they're vulnerable, they run verbal game to them.
Yep.
And they wear them down.
Very much. It ain't a 1 week deal. This is probably for months. But they know the perfect thing to say, and then they work the relationship, and before you know it, this guy's paying attention to me. Gosh, I don't get that at home.
And before you know it, she's bringing him extra candy. He's got extra shower benefits.
Yeah, just bring me a couple cigarettes from home. Hey, would you drop this letter off for me? Or just little special things. And pretty soon she's in so deep she can't get out.
Wow. Well, Jimmy, thank you. Thank you for the call and for enlightening us here. This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano. We are coming right back.
The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
And we are back, The Other Side of Midnight. Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano. Frank's off all this week on vacation. Noam Layton is standing by to take over at the top of the hour. I'm looking at my Twitter, at my X, and the topic, right? So I'm being brutally honest with you people. I've been fascinated by this topic for the last 20 years. Seriously. And that is, why do female correction officers, not all, only a handful, risk everything to have a relationship, to have sex with an inmate? So the first conclusion, and we're looking at a case in Britain where the woman has a former correction officer has an OnlyFans page, whatever you call this thing, where you can make money. And she showed up to court with her husband, and she made a video with one inmate. Another inmate recorded it. And so the first conclusion that I reached is that these guys, the inmates, they think they've got the gift of gab. They think they can sell anything. And you know what? Maybe they can, because they get these women to go for it. And in New York, you had two inmates, all right? They tried to make it to the Canadian border, where she was married and having sex with one of the inmates, and they were running game. And she helped them escape. So I'm looking at, and they were caught. I'm looking at my, well, one was caught. The other was killed, I believe. Looking at my Twitter, Sharon says, it's my guess she was going to post a video on her OnlyFans page. It wasn't just about having sex with him. So you know what, Sharon? Maybe you are correct. Let's switch gears. Trump, right? So I want you to listen to this. He's changing his attack. He's going after Kamala Harris on the issue of her age, and he's also going after her on other issues. Here's a little bit of what her laughing. Here's a little bit of what he has to say.
Well, they're going to say you're afraid of debating her. That's what they're going to say.
Well, they said that with Biden, too. You know, I was afraid. I did great with Biden, and I did great in every debate. I've had a lot of debates.
But you're winning on all the issues,
But, you know, I'm leading in the polls by, I think, a lot. I don't know. I hear different numbers. But I'm leading in all of the polls. I'm leading big in all of the swing states. And I say this. The answer is now. Yes, she's trying to come back. She got rid of the laugh. I noticed I haven't seen that crazy laugh that she got. She's crazy. That laugh, that's the laugh of a crazy person. But I noticed that she's not using that laugh anymore. Somebody convinced her, don't laugh. Just don't laugh. Don't laugh under any circumstances, because
I like laughter, but sometimes.
Not her laughter.
And so the debate over the debate. And when you think about it, Vice President Harris has not been laughing lately. She also has not been really facing any questions. Okay, let's take the really out. She has not faced any questions. How long can she continue to do this? You can't do this for the next 98 days until Election Day. Eventually, you're going to have to answer some questions. And the question becomes, when is that going to come? Hopefully, it's going to be a lot sooner rather than later. And you are listening to The Other Side of Midnight, and I'm Dominic Carter, filling in for Frank Morano. So, the debate over the debates, right? I want you to listen to this. This is Trump with Laura Ingraham, Fox News, on the issue of debates.
Well, they're going to say you're afraid of debating her. That's what they're going to say.
Well, they said that with Biden, too. You know, I was afraid. I did great with Biden, and I did great in every debate. I've had a lot of debates.
But you're winning on all the issues,
But, you know, I'm leading in the polls by, I think, a lot. I don't know. I hear different numbers. But I'm leading in all of the polls. I'm leading big in all of the swing states. And I say this. The answer is yes, I'll probably end up debating. I think actually the debate should take place before the votes start being cast. You know, I had a very good second debate with Biden. I really beat him badly. The problem was 34% of the votes were already cast. If you're going to have a debate, you got to do it, I think, before the votes are cast. I think it's very important that you do that. So the answer is yes. But I can also make a case for not doing it. Also, I don't like rewarding fake news. I don't like rewarding the people that have been, they're going to make tens of millions of dollars with this debate. I don't like ABC. I think it's a terrible, terrible outfit. I don't like that ABC is going to get rich. George Slopadopoulos, as I call him. I don't like it's such. I mean, these are such bad people. I don't like that ABC is going to get rich. I don't like, and I will say something that when CNN did the last one, they were very fair. Jake Tapper was very fair.
Well, maybe just you and her, Vice President Harris in a room together with no moderators.
I don't mind that. I don't mind anything. Look, I don't mind. We can do any form of a debate. You know, when they asked me to do the debate, they didn't think I was going to do it because they offered me the two heads, the two announcers, whatever you'd call them, the referees, call them whatever you want. But I have to say they were both very fair. It was CNN. They wanted to sit down. I said, no, I don't want to sit down. You can't sit down. They want to sit down. They offered me everything that I couldn't accept, and I accepted it. I accepted everything. And we had a debate. It was a great debate. It was actually, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I shouldn't have debated so well because if I didn't, that was the end of him. Because from that day on, you could see that he was not going to be, in my opinion, I said, I don't think he's going to make it anymore. Now I have her. I would rather run against her than him. I think she's easier than he is.
I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about that, whether or not Biden is easier than she is, because she's going to play the gender card. She's going to throw down the race card. She's going to be the victim of the year. And in every scenario, Trump has to be careful in terms of how he deals with her. But this entire issue of debating over debates, what does Trump have to lose? Trump is a good debater. Now, he does make a valid point. Wait a minute. Let's make sure she's the Democratic nominee. What happens if there's another switcheroo, right? Democrats decide that she's not running as well as they want her to run, and the convention hasn't happened yet. And then all of a sudden they turn to someone else. What happens at that point? I'm taking your telephone call, 646-720-0635. The number to reach me this morning, Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano, 646-720-0635. And if you are just tuning in, this is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano. A lot to talk about as it relates to Trump. The debate is going to happen. I'm telling you, folks, I've been doing this a long time. Kamala Harris is not going to do as well in a debate up against Trump as she thinks that she's going to do. But it'll be interesting TV. He'll have to be measured. She'll be throwing haymakers at him. You see how well he did against Biden. He saw that President Biden was drowning, and figuratively speaking, and he backed up, which is rule 101 of politics. Don't get in the way when your enemy is falling, when your rival, I should say, not your enemy, is falling apart. The number to reach me this morning, 646-720-0635. Let's go to Mike in South Carolina. Good morning, Mike. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dominic. My sleep cycle's a little off, no big deal. So I just woke up a little while ago. Interesting topic. Well, what you just said about Kamala Harris, yeah, she got rid of the giggles, as Curtis called her. And, she's playing the gender card. She's playing the race card, like you said. And she's playing the victim card and denial on being the czar of the border. Give me a break. Female prison guards. I had a lot of friends who retired from NYPD, Rikers, whatever. I think this is just a fantasy, a bizarre fantasy that some females have with, getting their rocks off in prison with prisoners. You can't quite, I agree with you. I can't wrap my mind around it, but it's got to be a twisted, fantasy land type of thing. And, they're jeopardizing, like you said, hey, you're jeopardizing your career, your pension, and everything else that
your
goes
freedom.
Along with it.
And Mike, what about, I'm giving this the cleaned up version as best as I can. What about the hygiene issue? You're having sex with,
Here's an Italian word for it. Total disgraziad, disgrace. That's like skivats.
Wow, Mike, thank you for the call. Listening on KMOX in St. Louis. Let's go to John. Good morning, John. What's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic, good to have you, bud.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
No, it is. You're a hell of a fill-in. I mean,
I was in St. Louis less than a month ago. But anyway, go ahead, John.
Did you see a Cardinal game?
No, I did not. I drove. I don't remember the town. It was beautiful. And I know you're going to say a lot of places in Missouri are nice. I drove about 3 hours up to 2.5 hours. It was lakes, and I can't remember the name, but I was speaking there, and it was absolutely beautiful. But it's a good 2.5 hours from St. Louis.
Yeah, Lake of the Ozarks.
That's it. How did you know, John?
Well, it's our go-to, bud.
Oh, it is. So that's why the conference was held there. Hey, John, the place was so beautiful, right?
Oh,
it was so beautiful that my wife is on my back to buy her a house there. That's how beautiful it was.
Well, yeah, you get you in a little cove there, and yeah.
Oh my God! I've done a lot, John. I'm going to get to your point in 1 second. I've done a lot speaking, traveling the country. I've seen a lot, right? I've had the opportunity. I've been, life has been good to me. Following world leaders, I've been on Lear jets and so on, all types of places, all types of things around the world. But I have never. What's the name of it again? Lake of the Ozarks.
Lake of the Ozarks.
It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yes, it is.
And it was about what, about an hour outside of Jefferson City, if I remember correctly.
About an hour.
Yes, yes.
2.5 hours from St. Louis. Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead with your point, please.
Well, I forget now.
It was on prison guards having no self-control.
Hey, listen. I think it all has to do with these women. It's no self-esteem.
I didn't want to say it, John, but it comes down to self-esteem.
I will.
John, but to have sex with an inmate?
It's no self-esteem. Come on, what else could it be? They have no self-esteem. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. Yeah, that's what it is.
Wow. To risk everything, your freedom, your kids. God only knows what type of disease you'll have from laying down with these guys.
Yeah,
Oh.
That's it. I'm going to say it. It's plain and simple. Dominic, you know that's what it is.
Right. I didn't want to say it, John. I didn't want to say it. But thank you so much, John, for listening on KMOX in St. Louis. Thank you. Thank you. So let's go from St. Louis and John to WFYY in Florida. Sophie. Good morning, Sophie. What's on your mind?
Good morning, sir. Hey, I love your guys' show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was listening, and I had a friend of mine that did corrections, that used to work in the corrections field, but it's a power play. She was like, yeah, you control all these guys. I'm like, you control? No.
But Sophie, okay, yeah. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think you and I know why the men correction officers will risk everything to have sex with female inmates, because men are stupid, right? And in some cases, but the women, for control,
they're dumber than guys.
Really? So do you think it's low self-esteem?
Yes, sir. It's a power play and low self-esteem. I mean, why would you risk everything when you have everything for nothing?
But to have sex with some lowlife that's running game, that can talk good things. I mean, if he was so good at talking, he wouldn't be in jail.
Yeah, exactly. But it has to be self-esteem, because that's, I mean, why else would they do it?
Could it be that their husband just not giving them any attention at home?
It could be. But
Well, so
I don't know.
Well, Sophie,
I don't know. It's weird.
Right? It is weird. That's why I brought up the topic. Listening to us on WFYY from Florida, Sophie. Thank you so much.
I got you on 103.1.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, Sophie. And I'm sure the weather is gorgeous in Florida this morning. Thank you for the call. On the issue of Trump debating, let's go to Lenny in Pennsylvania. Good morning, Lenny. You are on the other side of midnight.
Good morning, Dominic. I don't think Trump has any problem debating her. I think, media's making a lot out of this, but Trump's a good debater.
Agreed.
Right? So Biden fell. Kamala has she has no record. So I think she's the one who's really worried about it. She'll try to set up the debate the best she can. But Biden did the same thing, tried to set it up. And they're going to hide her. They're going to try to hide her as much as they hid Biden in 2020. We all know he had dementia in 2020. And now he can't run. And she's an empty suit.
Well, it certainly, I can understand why you say that, and it's going to be interesting. And I think right now they're just trying to bait Trump, but he's a great debater, and I don't see this as being a problem for him at all. At all.
Me neither. I don't see it as a problem for him, and I see her trying to. I'm not sure. Like, she wasn't a good debater in the Democratic primary from 4 years ago. Well, so why would she be good now? She has no record, nothing, no credentials.
Right. But she does have a record that can be hung around her neck, and that's exactly what Trump is going to do. Lenny, thank you for the call. So, folks, if you're from the New York area, you know I do a segment called The Left versus the Right once a week. And it's with former Congressman Anthony Weiner. And I've known him a long time. And he means well, and he's passionate about his views. But I want you to get an idea of what it's like talking to some of these progressives, or maybe Weiner would say he's not a progressive, but talking to someone on the left when you try and make sense to them. So this is from our segment that we did this weekend, Saturday in New York, 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can always find it online, folks. And he was yelling so loud at me, I thought he was going to have a stroke. Listen to this, folks.
How did Trump make his money?
Trump made his money by making wise decisions.
No, Trump was given money.
No, here we go. You don't think I know what here's what you want to say. Trump's daddy gave him his money. Yeah. Did Trump, whatever the case may be, I think Trump said it was a small loan.
$2 million.
Okay, now what is Trump worth now?
What's
he worth now? That's the question.
I'm going to do the math for you.
Go ahead.
If Trump invested in a CD, in a certificate of deposit, he'd have more money today.
No, he wouldn't.
Yes, he would. The guy's lost money left, right. He had failed casinos, failed apartment buildings.
We're talking about Kamala. Kamala.
No, you just asked me about Trump.
No, Kamala.
Here's the advice I would give you, Dominic, to pass along to the mothership. I know they played It's a Man's World at the convention when Donald Trump came out. I know you had Dana White and wrestlers and everything else.
Hulk Hogan.
You think Hulk Hogan.
Ripping off his shirt to have a Trump shirt underneath.
And I know that a vice president was chosen
Or Madeleine Brame, the African-American woman from New York that said Democrats have ruined the country on crime. Her Afghanistan serving son killed in Harlem.
I'm offering some advice. Let me finish. Dominic, let me finish.
Why don't you finish? Or what about the brother of the woman in Maryland? The mother of 5, where she was brutally raped by a migrant. Eventually,
now I'm going to have to restart.
Eventually, you Democrats are going to have to answer real questions, policy questions, and poof, there goes the illusion.
And let me get back to the point I was making. So I'm going to offer some advice.
Go ahead.
The president comes out to It's a Man's World. You have Dana White introducing him, the head of a wrestling organization. You have Hulk Hogan coming out. You have Kid Rock and everything else. You apparently think that a bunch of 20-year-old white guys are making this decision.
Really?
Here, just let me.
Can I pop
let me make my point.
Argument?
Can I make a point, please?
The argument is faulty.
Dominic, I haven't made it yet.
Left out
Dominic, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be talked over now. I'm going to keep making my point. And this is the worst radio ever. I don't care about Jack Rapper in South Brooklyn. I am going to make my point, Dominic. I am going to make my point. Talking over me will not work while I make this point. point. I am going to make my point. I am going to make my point. I am going to make my point. Be quiet while I make my point.
Amber
Be
Rose.
quiet while I make my point. Be quiet while I make my point.
Go ahead. So, what I was trying to say was that the former congressman was stating that Trump at the RNC had nothing but young white guys. And my point was, what about model rapper Amber Rose, a woman of color from South Philadelphia? But Mr. Weiner, like many on the left, did not want to hear that. It did not go with the narrative that he was trying to make. This is Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano, the other side of midnight. I'm with you up until the top of the hour. That's when my colleague Noam Layden will come in. He will be taking over, but we'll continue with your calls. The number to reach me from throughout the country, 646-720-0635.
The Other Side of Midnight. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
We are back. Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano right now. Noam Layden has been here working for a few hours getting ready. I'm about to pass the mantle to him at the top of the hour. But up until that time, it's you and I on the phones together. Let's go to Miles on line 1. Miles, what's on your mind?
Dominic, I have such an idea. Can you imagine in the show Left Against Right, if there would be two sets of lie detectors, and the guys who operate in it, they would not see who they controlling, and they would have switched for microphone, and you would be switching one Anthony, one question you, one Anthony. At the moment when these guys...
Wait, Miles, I'm not understanding your point. You said have two guys... Say that again?
With a lie detector.
Two guys with a lie detector.
And they would have switched for your mic. At the moment when you ask question, Anthony Weiner, when the guy who operates it sees that's actually Anthony Weiner, it's not truthful, that he don't really believe in what he is giving you, they shut off his microphone and you continue the next question.
Ah, okay, all right.
Completely avoid, because he's so disrespectful to you. He's so many times out screaming, you just... it's boiling my blood when I'm listening to a show sometimes. So I was thinking this would be absolutely fair if you really, because so many times he says, can you be at least once say the truth? You cannot really believe, and he tells you straight in the face the lie again that he believes that, and so. This would absolutely avoid all of that.
Okay.
You would be most of the show. You would be talking just you.
Well, thank you, Miles. So maybe we ought to try that. The mic gets turned off, sort of like the presidential debate. Let's go to Brian on line 3. Good morning, Brian. You are on the other side of midnight.
Hey, Dominic. Good morning. I pray the powers to be are listening. Please give Dominic a good offer and get him on this from midnight to whatever, till 5 a.m. Anyways, Kamala Harris, all you got to do is watch any interview with her. She's not much better than Biden with her responses.
No, I hear you. She may have more personality and she may have more energy, but
she does, absolutely. I mean, and as far as the debate with they should have stopped that and said, "Oh, Biden got really sick," and that was so embarrassing to do that to the president. And again, I'm voting for Trump. I voted for Trump all along, but you just don't do that to the president. You just don't let him sit there and talk about cramp, whatever he was. I had no idea what he was talking about. Nobody else did.
I got you. Unless the president's being set up, and more. Hey, you know what, Brian? Thank you for the call. I really appreciate it. And Brian mentioned another show for me, folks. The technology in the world we live in. I do another show. It's from Monday to Friday, 3 p.m. To 4 p.m., based out of a New York Eastern Standard Time, the Dominic Carter Show. If you're not in New York, just look online and you can listen 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I am dayside. You can find me. I would love for you folks to join and call the show, and let's mix it up together. So I will be back, for example, in another 12 hours to do exactly that show, 12 hours and 6 minutes from now. Joe on line 6. Good morning, Joe. You are on the other side of midnight.
Hey, Dominic, what does ABC stand for? Always broadcasting water?
I hear you, Joe. I hear you. Go ahead. What's on your mind this morning?
Well, anyway, you better be careful. Curtis might put a hit on you. Anyway, with Trump, she thinks that he has an obligation to debate her. As of right now, she is not the nominee.
Right. She's not. She thinks that she is, but she's not.
Right. And so that the President Trump has no obligation to debate her as of now.
Agreed.
Am I correct or am I wrong?
No, you're correct. Agreed. No obligation, and that's why Team Trump is hesitant. But they're trying to embarrass him. They're trying to goad him into a debate. This man has already served as president of the United States. You're not going to goad him into anything at all.
Well, you know how this is going to go. I think we've already had a discussion. You know how this is going to go. How they're going to, frame the former president, right? Misogynist, racist,
yes,
a convict. And
yes.
as for your show with the former congressman, I don't listen because he keeps calling the former president a convict. Correct?
All right, but let's leave that alone, Joe. There's no need to go there. I got it where you're going, and I thank you. I thank you so much for the call. Thank you, Joe. Let's go to Russ, White Plains, line 1. Good morning, Russ.
Hey, Dominic. I haven't heard Trump ask for any early day for the debate, and I think that's because Trump can't debate women. He hasn't debated a woman since Hillary, who really wasn't a woman. She was more or less a machine.
Oh, come on now, Russ. Come on. That's not cool. Come on, man.
Yeah, she was.
Wait a minute. Whether we like Mrs. Clinton, whether we hate her, I've known that woman for many, many years. I've been in many social gatherings with her. Russ, she is a mother. I mean, my God, come on, man. She's not a woman. Of course she's a mother.
Well, there are a lot of mothers in prison. I don't understand what being a mother.
You just said she's not a woman.
She is like Lady Macbeth. She was unsexed by her drive for power. She's a bloodthirsty murderer.
How would you know? How would you know?
Listen, I watched her. She started wars in Syria, Ukraine, Libya. She is a murderer. But my point is, Trump, with his bully boy tactics, he can pull that with men, but it ain't going to work with Kamala. She's going to make mincemeat out of Trump. And I was a double hater. I didn't like either one of them. I didn't vote in the first one with Hillary. I did vote for Trump in 2020 when he lost, but I've been looking for an escape route. The whole country is. She's going to take charge, and she has shown that when the head of lettuce got out of the way, she consolidated things. She's the vice president. And I hear callers say she's got no record and she's in hiding and she's an empty suit. Some clown. She was the attorney general, a senator, a veep, and an idiot on the radio saying that she's an empty suit.
All right, Russ. Well, thank you for the call. Folks, I just don't like it when our politics, when we hate each other so much. Russ just said that Hillary Clinton is not a woman. I mean, listen, you can hate her, you can say Benghazi, you can say whatever you want to say. But she is a woman. I mean, come on. And I can only tell you the times that I've interacted with her. I've interacted with her at the White House right before she became a senator. I've interacted with her in Los Angeles, at the DNC, where I interviewed her several times. I interacted with her when I moderated the debate when she was floating with running for president. And just on a personal level, she always carried herself okay with me, but she's not a woman. I mean, come on, folks. Come on, Russ. I mean, she has a child that's a grown woman, and she's now a grandmother. We may not like her politics, but the last time I checked, Hillary Clinton is a woman. Give it a break. Coming up right after this break, Noam Layton will take you for the final 2 hours of The Other Side of Midnight.